And welcome to Mr. Hurricane's decision, the hottest event of the summer, 2013. You've all been waiting for it. It's time for me to decide who my NCAA 14 Dynasty Mode team is going to be. How's it going, guys? My name is Mr. Hurricane, and welcome to the decision. I am not late. I am on time. How are there 361 likes already? Oh, it's the day of the decision. Oh, this is a very big day for me. This is where I decide the series that is going to be on my channel for the next 12 months. One team. One team. Last year, the UTSA Roadrunners. I'll be wrapping up the last of 5 seasons soon, and it was a very fun run. They were one of the weakest teams in the NCAA. It was the first year in the FBS. I took the challenge, knowing what it would entail, and I've taken the UTSA Roadrunners to the top of Conference USA. And now, a new 12-month project awaits. The webcam is not too big because the gameplay don't matter. But on Monday, I informed you guys of my final 4 teams. It was a very hard process narrowing it down who I wanted to play as in this year's Dynasty mode. We have 800 people in here. This is ridiculous. And so I started with about 12, 16 teams to try to narrow it down even further, and it was very hard. Teams from all sorts of different conferences, and it was just, there was a lot of teams that fit what I want to do. And then from there, it was narrowing it down to 4. And then from there, obviously my decision. So on Monday, I informed you guys, obviously, it was down to the University of Cal, Cincinnati, University of Minnesota, and Texas Tech. And then I let you guys sound off, let you guys vote to see who you wanted to see the most. And I'll show you guys the results of the poll here in a second. I ended the voting about 10-15 minutes ago. But welcome, everybody that's coming in here. 900 plus people. Let's give a shout out to the sponsors quick. We got Gamma Labs and G Fuel. This is my only sponsor, so it's not going to take very long. But you can, of course, go in the description. I'm sure the link's down there somewhere. $5 off your order. Coupon code Kane. We have over 1,000 people here. This is awesome. Let me make this a little bit bigger. I'll go right in the center. And so me and my agent have been talking it over. You know, what's the right decision? Where do I want to go? The next 12 months. Very important. A lot of thought has gone into this decision. And now, how about the results of the poll? Let's pull that up for everybody. There are over 5,000 total votes. Almost 1,000 comments on the video. I've been reading what you guys had to say because this was a decision I honestly put a lot of time into. It's 12 months of content. I'm not just going to make this decision overnight. And even if I had my mind made up or an idea, I wanted to know what you guys wanted to see. I want you guys to be excited right now so I can start a great series and we can carry it through all the way until next July. And so here are the results of the poll. The University of Cal was by far the favorite of the fans, receiving 2,112 votes. Minnesota in second with 1,340 votes. The Texas Tech Red Raiders, 1,117. The Cincinnati Bearcats with 820. And there were good arguments made by you guys for all of those 4 teams. And I had taken notes on why I wanted to be each team. I'm not lying here. I got notes right here. I have more notes. And I would just like to announce right now, this is officially the most popular live stream I have ever done as far as highest amount of viewers goes, I believe. I don't think I've ever gone this high. We're almost to 1,200 right now. And I did this at 2 o'clock Central Time. That way, so everybody in the United States was able to come, as well as my international subscribers overseas in the UK. Where else? Brazil. All the other places. There's a lot of people that wanted to know. I wanted to accommodate as many as I could. Everybody's still staying late. I'm 5 minutes into this, and you guys are all telling me I'm late. I think you guys are late with your accusation, although it is false. And so, before I make the long-awaited decision, I'd like to inform you guys that after I make my decision, I reveal it. I'm going to give you guys kind of a preview to the Dynasty. There's not going to be like a video I created for it, and I haven't started up a Dynasty yet. I'm going to basically tell you my plans, how I came about the decision, and what can you expect. Because no matter what, you know, whether I pick any of these 4 teams, some people are going to be disappointed probably, and I want to let you guys know exactly what's going to happen so you're excited when that first episode comes out, hopefully next week sometime. Almost 1,200 viewers. We are crawling. Leave a like if you haven't yet. I'm going to like it right now. I want to get as many people in here as possible. 670 likes. This is out of control here. And so let me go over the 4 schools again that I was considering. First up, we had the Cal Bears. Let me pull up. I'll just go on the play now so I can show off their jerseys and stuff as I go through here. I'm not going to take an hour, I promise. Not like an unnamed athlete, LeBron James. But I'll admit I have watched his interview a couple times today for motivation because, you know, he had to make a tough decision. So I wanted to see what it looked like in his interview because I never watched it live. And so first up we had the Cal Bears. The Cal Bears are an 81 overall team. Why did I write down 84? Huh. Anyway, this was the representative from the Pac-12 conference. And they're a very young team. And they would just be a fun team, I thought, to take. They went 3-9 last year. And there's a lot of really good competition in the Pac-12. So I know that either way, even when I get, you know, even higher rated and whatnot, that there would still be tough competition there. And that's what enticed me about going to Cal. But there are a lot of other schools, too. Cincinnati, the Bearcats. I first took notice of this team when they had like Marty Gilliard back a few years ago. I liked watching him in college. And they've been a good team, but they've struggled against some of the teams up here. You know what I'm talking about. A couple years ago they lost a bowl game to Florida. They lost the bowl game to Virginia Tech. And so I thought about taking them to a larger conference and allowing them to have the chance to compete and take on those top tier teams. And so that was Cincinnati. And they won their bowl game last year against Duke. And the other 2 teams that I had considered were also in bowl games. Oddly enough against each other. So let's just put them up here side by side. Make it easier on myself. Come on, where are the T's at? Finally. Alright. The Minnesota Golden Gophers. They are the doormat of the Big Ten Conference. They haven't had a lot of success lately, and they just need work. They need a lot of work. They have been failing to come away with any victories in their rivalry games for a while. Well, they've won some a few years ago, but they aren't good in the Big Ten, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Last year they won 4 games out of conference to combine with their 2 wins in conference to go to a bowl game where they got beat by Texas Tech. And so I knew the Minnesota Gophers needed help. And I wanted to maybe go to a larger conference this year, and that's why I considered Minnesota. And I also considered Illinois at one point. And lastly, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And one of the reasons I considered them was because I thought to myself, wouldn't it be awesome to have a dominant team in that intimidating black and red uniform? I thought it would. And the Big 12, that's like the air it out conference. That's all spread offenses basically. And you know, I've talked about this year running a lot more spread looks and trying to stretch the field that way. And so Texas Tech I thought was a team that needed a little bit of help. They're in the Big 12, some really good teams to go against, and they rounded off my Final Four. Man, 1,300 viewers right now. This is crazy. I'm not even sure what screen I should have here as I make my decision and keep talking. Let me take a... You got notes? Hell yeah, I got notes. I got all sorts of notes here. Man, 1,300 viewers. Is Cherry your agent? Man, one thing though, I've been checking I always check my mentions. I'm always on Twitter. I'm on my computer basically. And half my mentions are like an account for Mr. Hurricane's Fort, Mr. Hurricane's Cup, Mr. Hurricane's Robe, Evan Newton, Anthony Banks, characters from all my series, and things that I own have accounts to tweet me. And someone made an account earlier, at Kane TV Media, coverage for Kane's decision today, all Mr. Hurricane coverage and analysis here on Kane TV. So go give them a follow at Kane TV Media. I'll retweet their last tweet. Just because I liked, this guy was talking about my decision, and then he was also talking about a Sammy Hollins episode, so I thought it was pretty cool. So let me retweet one of his tweets. You guys are out of control with this social media. Oh man, 1,350 viewers. That's a huge ass mug. Yeah, yesterday I took a measuring cup and I measured how much water goes into here when I fill it up to drink, and it's 24 ounces. That's how much I drink in there. See, if I just had a glass, I'd be in and out of here all day. A third the trips, basically. But we're all gonna miss. Oh, I have to announce one more thing. The UTSA Dynasty. I'm gonna be making a team builder for it, and as a matter of fact, I've already started it. I'm going to take the team I had on NCAA 13, put the entire roster into there with all the ratings, and I'm going to upload it to the team builder if you guys want to download it and play with that team or continue the Dynasty in your way. Obviously, I'm going through Season 5 right now, so you get the Season 5 roster. So you basically, I'm not going to just like sim the off season when I'm there and then give you guys that team, because then you wouldn't have like Anthony Banks and Dominic Carter. I want you guys to have the current team, and so that's going to be uploaded to the team builder. I just finished up the entire offense yesterday, and I started the defense. So I'm hoping that by next week, or the week after, you guys can download that team builder, which I believe will be for both consoles. I don't see why it would only be for one, but hopefully you guys can download that if you want to play with it. Kane UK consideration. Only American on YouTube that puts your stream at a good time for us over here. Hey, I wanted to make this accessible today. It's the decision. You've all been waiting for it. I might as well include everybody. Hurricane, read the notes to us. Okay, here's my notes for Cal. Pac-12 has awesome competition, young quarterback, young receivers, all are fast. Offensive line needs some work. Defense doesn't have a lot of standouts. Cincinnati. Top 2 quarterbacks will graduate after first year. Receiving core needs some standouts. O-line needs work. And there's a lot of room for me to improve the defense. Minnesota. Defense needs a lot of work. Defense needs impact players. Defense needs depth. And they play in a great conference. Texas Tech, my notes were young quarterbacks, room to create a strong wide receiver core is very important for that offense, and cornerbacks need a lot of work. Those were the notes I had written down there. I was not late. Why does everybody want me to move my camera? There's nothing important in the background. It's just there. Oh man. I'm getting tweeted at to move the camera. What, is it better over here? Would it honestly be better in a corner? My decision is at the forefront of this video. The gameplay is pretty irrelevant. It's just there. And so the conferences I had to choose from were the Pac-12, the American Athletic Conference, the Big Ten, and the Big 12. And so I knew I was going to face good competition this year either way. Last year with UTSA was Conference USA most of the time. We only played a couple of ranked teams, and they were Texas in the first year. Colorado, were they ranked at the time? I can't remember. I don't think they were. Texas Tech, which was the first victory over a ranked team, and then it was this current season. It was the Ohio Bobcats. Played them. And so this year I'm like, let's take it a step further. I left UTSA with a 77 overall team. I brought them up from the mid-60s. So there are 77 now. A 3-star prestige football school. And have been running through a lot of the competition in the Conference USA. Why would I move my webcam? Why would I do that? Why? That's not important. That's the gameplay. Oh, sweet. I've already burned up 16 minutes? LeBron's interview was only like 12. Yeah. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Oh, man. And if you guys have any questions for me, once I make my decision, tweet them to me, and I'll try to answer the good ones, and just give you guys a lot of information once the decision is made. And people had requested me to like go get hats and stuff. That would have been a lot of fun, but 1, I don't have them, and 2, I didn't want to buy them. But this is going to be good either way. I think I've already set up a pretty good stream here. We have almost 1,500 people in here. A huge crowd for the decision. Can you move? Why are so many people saying move the camera? Do you really want to see what's behind it? I'm not hiding anything back there. There, that's just that stuff. Not important. Now you really can't see anything. My hands made a really weird noise. What difficulty sliders are you using? I'm going to be playing on Heisman difficulty just like last year. And before I begin the Dynasty, I'm going to probably play a little bit on Heisman just to feel out the game, because I want to make sure everything is right before I get into the first games of the series. And I think the first episode is going to be kind of an introduction episode to get you guys familiar with the team I choose and to set up the first game. So the first episode will probably not be the first game, but it won't be far after. I've changed up my style of video in the past year a little bit to where it's like strictly from a commentator's perspective, and I do a lot more with production to kind of make it blur those lines between reality and a video game I play. And I think I've done a pretty good job in the past few months trying to do that better. Hoping for some big things with this Dynasty. It's going to be 12 months. And you know, the UTSA Dynasty has gone 5 seasons. This will be the 5th season wrapping up now. And so I'm looking at like this entire series with a 5-year plan, at least. I think if I was more consistent, I could have easily done 6 or 7 seasons. But I put a lot of time and effort into the videos, and I'm going to try to do better this coming year. I'm going to set my goal for seasons at about 6 or 7, hopefully reach those. But I think it's decision time, guys. We've waited long enough. It's been 19 minutes. We're almost to 1,000 likes. Someone just made a Twitter for MrHurriicane's camera. Someone just made a Twitter profile for Kane's broken headset. These are broken, yes. This is out of control. Alright. It's time. I'll explain my decision after I reveal it. I have made my decision, and I'll tell you guys right now, I thought I had my mind made up on Monday. I thought I had it made up. I changed my mind yesterday. And for good reason, I'll explain. I had my mind made up about 24 hours ago. And so, the Mr. Hurricane decision of 2013 for for the NCAA Football 14 Dynasty Mode Series. In front of 1,500 loyal subscribers and viewers from all around the world, I have decided to take my talents and accept the head coaching position at the University of Minnesota. And there you have it. I have chosen the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Honestly, on Monday, I thought I was going to be Cal. I really thought it was going to be the Cal Bears. I saw that receiving core they have there in Berkeley, and my eyes just widened because I wanted to really air it out this year. I wanted to spread it out. And I wanted to dominate with those receivers. But the more I looked, the more I read some comments, I thought for once I was actually going to side with you guys on the thing that you picked for number 1. Last year I did a poll for the Raiders CCM, or my CCM mode on Madden 13. And I put like 12 teams on there. And the Raiders were 3rd, and I still picked them because I wanted to see if you guys wanted to see the Raiders first, what you would see from like a, just look at all these teams, what do you want to see? Raiders were number 3. Number 1 was the Colts, number 2 was the Seattle Seahawks. But I'm happy with my decision because I like what I've done with the Raiders so far, and I'm not done yet. And then with this decision, I've looked at a lot of teams, a lot of rosters. And then it was the debate. It was the debate between... Eventually it came down to Minnesota and Cal. Over the weekend I had added Texas Tech to my list, and I thought that they might end up being my team. And then there was Cincinnati, because I love the idea of moving them to a different conference and then trying to compete. But I'll show you guys my decision. I took notes down about how I made my decision. 1 second. Text message. But I will be... It's going to be the Minnesota Golden Gophers this year. And I know some people don't like it. I mean, I'm already getting dislikes. People may not like the decision. It's not the sexy pick. But I'll say this. It's not the sexy pick right now. The idea behind the Dynasty is that it's going to go at least 5 seasons. And so, when I also think about what made the UTSA Dynasty so special, was really that eventually the players that I recruited came in and they started to steal the show. But I also realized towards the end how important that first draft class is, because right now you give your players 3-4 years with a red shirt to develop. And then in season 5, they should be fully developed. They're seniors. They're at the height of their college career, and those are the guys that I picked. And I realized that because Dominic Carter and Anthony Banks are 2 of the cornerstones of that series. They're both seniors now, 2 guys that I had recruited. And to me, those players are what make those series what they are. If I look at all of the series I've done for teams, there's a lot of players that stand out that weren't in the game when I started. Now, there are a lot that are there that, were there in the initial rosters, like Vikings franchise. You can't ignore Larry Fitzgerald and Adrian Peterson and all the other players, but you also have to look at the guys that I brought in myself and put on the team, like Jamel Fleming, Nate Potter, Morris Claiborne, Keyston Terry, and Jamez Logan. And so for me, the fun part is bringing in those players that aren't already there to build the team. And I just thought Minnesota gave me the best 5-year plan, because with Cal, I charted a few different stats. Oh, I can move my camera now, that's right. Yeah, my bad. Alright, up here. Let me make it a little bit tinier. Let's see what the tweets are saying. At Hurricane's agent. Oh man. Hurricane's hand. Oh my goodness. Alright. So with Cal, I mean, the first thing that intrigued me, I was going through rosters. It's like, okay, move on. Receivers. Wait, this guy's a sophomore, 87 overall. He's already this fast, this good. This guy too. This guy too. This guy too. That guy's a freshman. That guy's a sophomore. That guy's a sophomore. I mean, I think the intriguing part of Cal is building this current roster. This is going to be a good team in a few years. And the reason why I didn't pick them is because I wanted the series to be about my players kind of equally. But I looked at a lot of the positions here and I compared them to Minnesota, because it had come down a few days ago where I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be between Minnesota and Cal. So I started comparing the two because I thought I had my mind made up about Cal. And so I spent the next day trying to convince myself whether Cal was a good choice or not. And I want the players that I recruit to have the chance to help lead this team, whatever team it was that I picked. And so for Cal, I look at their quarterback situation. And to me, I like bringing in my own quarterback, but I'm not going to mind if there's already someone there that I can build with. And I believe almost every team here had that. But with Cal, I have this freshman quarterback, and if I was to recruit anybody, they wouldn't play for a long time at quarterback. That's not a big deal. At halfback, I have Brendan Bigelow, Daniel Lasco, Darren Irvin, and Khalfani Muhammad. And that's just, these guys are still going to be growing. We have 2 sophomores, a freshman, and a junior. And so I knew that running back, might be a little hard to crack into. And at wide receiver, I'll show you guys what I made here. I made this to chart it. These are the projected wide receiver ratings after years of progression. Basically what I did is I took anybody that was going to be there the next year and added 4 to their overall, because I think that's about the average for progression in the off season. And if I was to be Cal, basically none of the receivers that I recruit would even really play until year 4, when everybody's graduated, basically. For Minnesota, I can start filtering them in earlier, and they can start playing earlier. Now in Minnesota, you still see by year 3, there's still going to be some okay receivers there, but I just thought that Minnesota had the better situation there. Like, when I have made these in the past, and I used to play like franchises when I was younger, my favorite positions to recruit and to build were the running back and wide receiver positions. And so I saw Cal's already full of potential receiving core. I'm like, okay, I could do something here. But then I realized, like, none of my guys that I recruit are going to have much of a chance unless they're super high. Holy crap, I got 40 dislikes. And so I look at the rest of the roster. By the way, Cal, 8 seniors will graduate after their first season. Where are my notes? I have more notes here. Cal has 8 seniors on their roster. And out of the starters that would graduate, I would have to replace starters at fullback, their top defensive tackle, and kicker. This is a young team. I'm going through the team right now. You can see how many underclassmen are playing, and just, I wanted somewhere where there would be room for me to grow my team. And with a 5-year plan, I think Minnesota gives me a better chance to grow my players to go to that next level. And I love the challenge that Cal possesses, even though they have a pretty good team on here, just because of the competition there. The Big Ten has a lot of good competition too, though. I mean, Stanford, USC, Oregon, Oregon State, Arizona State's going to be really good too, because Arizona State has like 26 players in the 80s or higher. They're going to develop into a strong team. Minnesota in the Big Ten, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Nebraska, you name it. I thought the competition there, I couldn't pick one over the other to make my decision because they're both so good. And so the way I looked at it, I wrote this down. I said, Minnesota needs help, meaning that they need players. They need recruiting. They need someone to bring in and recruit a winning football team. The way I viewed Cal was they need time. Basically, I thought Minnesota needed new players, whereas Cal needed time to develop their current roster. And I wanted to go and bring in new players. That's what I really wanted to do. And so when I look at Minnesota's situation, Philip Nelson is their sophomore quarterback. So I know I'm going to get 3 years out of him as a starter possibly, as long as he holds on to this starting spot. He took over last year, they took the red shirt off of him, and he's going to be the quarterback. Move on. Halfback. There isn't a lot here. We have senior James Gillum, and then we have a sophomore and freshman that, you know, I could definitely recruit somebody to compete with those guys, and Kirkwood's only going to be around for a couple of years in the first place. Plus, I like to have a 2 or 3 back system. You see my UTSA Dynasty, there's a reason I did not redshirt Vince Taylor. 54 dislikes. Yeah, that was to be expected, but I can't please everybody. But I wanted to pick the right team. I wanted to pick the team that you guys would be happy with. I wanted you guys to be happy with my choice in 12 months, not today. That's not what it's about. It doesn't matter if I please you today. I need to please you in 12 months. At wide receiver for the Golden Gophers, they actually have something brewing here. They have some decent players, guys like A.J. McDonald that are going to get better, and Drew Wolotarski, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. But I just thought that there was room here to bring in some recruits in battle for positions, whereas Cal was really crowded. Tight end, I never got my receiving tight end in UTSA Dynasty. I never got him. I had him, actually. I redshirted him, and they left to Houston. I never got my receiving tight end. There's room for that here. And then they're graduating their left tackle. The offensive line needs work. But if you want to know what's going to happen in the first part of the Dynasty, it's all about improving the defense. I told you guys that Cal was graduating their starting fullback, their best defensive tackle, and their kicker. Minnesota is graduating their fullback, their left tackle, their defensive tackle, their top one, their left outside linebacker, their middle linebacker, their right outside linebacker, their left corner, their right corner, and their strong safety are all graduating after year 1. Gone. And if you look at these positions where those players are graduating, they need my help. Aaron Hill graduating. Second year is going to have competition for Nick Rallis. Same thing at the middle linebacker position. Same thing at the right outside linebacker position. At corner, he's gone. He's gone. These guys are all gone after season 2. I love drafting corners. I love recruiting corners. A.J. Brown, Kyle Nichols. Perfect examples. Free safety. I'm not happy with that situation. Strong safety. Brock Vereen is going to graduate. Minnesota gives me the best chance to build a team with my players having a large part, and that's why I wanted to be them. I think I have made the right decision, and we'll find out, I guess, in 12 months if I made the right decision. But that's it. I wanted to make the right team, not to please you today, but to please you in 12 months when the series has concluded. I want to pick the right team now, but it has to be the right team in 12 months. And I will be getting this series with Operation Sports rosters. They are out now, and they're releasing corrected files every now and then, and so I'll be downloading those and getting a good set, double-checking the Minnesota roster, getting that fully complete. Not going to affect any ratings. And then we're going to go on with the Dynasty. And so if you're upset that I did not pick Cal, to be honest, I thought I was going to pick Cal. I really thought I was. But the more I looked at it, the more in-depth I looked, the more I realized that Cal was not a rebuilding project, but it was a growing project. I have to grow that current roster if I'm Cal. It'd be an excellent project for anybody that's a Cal fan. If you're a fan of Cal, you have a good team to start out with. Although I was surprised about some of the ratings. Like their top receiver, Treggs, is an 87 overall in the game. He only caught 200 yards last year in a touchdown. Like 212 yards. I was a little surprised about some of the ratings there. And so I looked at the ratings expecting to see like 8 touchdowns and 900 yards, and that's not what I saw. I was kind of surprised. But I think Minnesota is also a great team for me to play as because it kind of leaves off where the UTSA Dynasty ended, or is going to end. UTSA was a 77 overall with 6 players, I believe, 80 overall or higher. Minnesota's a 79 overall with 1 more player 80 overall or higher than UTSA. Plus, Minnesota's in a big conference. They have some rivalry trophies I can go after. Some great competition in the Big Ten. I love it. And, you know, I disagree with some of the things their current coach does. So, Coach Kane's coming to town. But we got 1,081 likes, 59 dislikes. We'll see if I can convince any of those dislikers that I've made the right decision here. I know I did not pick Cal. I did not pick Cincinnati, and I didn't pick Texas Tech. I took them all into consideration. I thought that Cal and Minnesota, after a couple days of the vote being up, were kind of like my best choices. But at the end of the day, I got to go with Minnesota. I think I can do some great things playing as the Gophers, and I can really build this team. And I have some notes here about Minnesota. They haven't won the Big Ten title since 1967. They have lost 5 straight bowl games. Their last bowl win was in 2004 over the Alabama Crimson Tide. They last won the Rose Bowl, which the Big Ten is a part of with the Pac-12, in 1962 over UCLA. They do not currently possess any of their 4 rivalry trophies. They haven't played Penn State in a few years for the trophy, I guess. Only 5 current players in the NFL: Eric Decker, Marcus Sherrills, Matt Spaeth, Nate Triplett, and Adam Weber. And I'm looking to take the Minnesota Golden Gophers from the basement of the Big Ten to the attic. And it's not going to be easy. There's some very good teams there. I got to deal with Nick Saban and the Ohio State Buckeyes. I got the Michigan Wolverines. I got the Wisconsin Badgers, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. There's a lot of good teams there. Minnesota's not one of them. Yet. I got more dislikes now. Yeah, the views have gone down too. It's all good. And so, my first order of business with the Minnesota Golden Gophers are to help get some explosion on offense. If you look at their running backs, there's not a lot that's going to scare you there. And at receiver, you know, they got some potential. Tight end, not much. I want to provide some explosion to this offense. They need some help. Their last successful NFL player was Eric Decker. He was the man in that passing attack. But if you go back to the early mid-2000s, they had Lawrence Maroney and Marion Barber, and they were a fun team to watch. I need to get the team back to where they were and then go the next step. They had some success in the early 2000s, but it was very short-lived. And I also wrote down, like, a few things about UTSA and, like, all the players that I recruited and developed there. Like Dominic Carter, Brandon Ford, Kyle Nichols, Anthony Banks, Tim Whitaker, Darren Rose, Evan Newton, and Eric Hancock. All those players were recruited by me, and I wanted to have the chance because if the series only goes 5 years, that means my first draft class is going to be the seniors in that season, and I want to have that situation. I want to be able to have some players that I have, you know, brought and introduced to you guys early, like Anthony Banks. Then after Banks' first year, you're like, this guy needs some more playing time. He gets it. Continues to develop, becomes the first 1,000-yard rusher in UTSA single-season history. And then from there, I introduce you guys to Danny Moss and Vince Taylor. I want my series to be a lot about my players that I recruit. Not just developing the current roster, which I felt that was more for Cal. Cal would be great. Cal was a good school to choose either way, but I thought Minnesota gave me the better opportunity for the 5 or 6 seasons that I'm going to do the Dynasty for. Stop being boring and begin Dynasty. It's not starting right now. I'm not ready to start it. Well, I am, but I'm going to get the next corrected version of the rosters. I'm going to set everything up. There's not much I could do right now. I mean, I could probably make my coach and go start preseason recruiting, but I'm going to take some time and, do that correctly. This is a decision live stream. LeBron didn't go play a pickup game of basketball with Bosch and Wade once he made his decision. A couple days later, I think they had that big entrance, and they were like, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but the decision has been made. The Minnesota Golden Gophers on my team. Some may be disappointed, but will they in July of 2014? That's all that matters to me. That and making as entertaining of a series as I can, fulfilling my goals of the series, and just giving you guys those entertaining videos that you guys crave. I'm going to look at the interactions and see if anybody has some good tweets to respond to. Small said, I wish I could have interrupted Mr. Hurricane midstream with a suit on and tell everyone they needed to wait for Sunday. Hashtag major heat. I love it. Someone who said I should play UTSA in my first game since I played Minnesota my first game in the UTSA Dynasty series. That's not a bad idea. Someone has made a profile for Cane's shirts. Oh, man. You turned heel. Sources. Fans unhappy as they want Mr. Hurricane to move his camera. More to come. Are you going to get a Minnesota shirt now? Maybe. Did I say Nick Saban coaches at Ohio State? Did I really say that? Because I meant Urban Meyer. I know Saban's down in Alabama. My corrected roster has Saban at a 54 overall coach level, which is the max. Sorry if I said Saban. Whoops. Oh well. What's your coach's name going to be? I'm not sure yet, but the last name is probably going to be Kane. This is the right choice. How could you not pick the Longhorns? Because that's not rebuilding. That's taking a team with a bunch of 90 overall players and trying to compete with Oregon and Alabama. I'll show you what Texas has. That wouldn't be my type of series. Oh, I did. Wow. Nick Saban, Urban Meyer. Whoops. But I hope you guys are excited for the Dynasty either way. I mean, I know some are disappointed, but I think once I get those first videos out, people were disappointed when I picked the Raiders over the Seahawks and the Colts. And I think that people would have been disappointed had I picked Cal too. There's still been a lot of disappointed people. I mean, Cal was only 39% of the vote. I know they were the most. They had the majority by far. Here were the results one more time. Cal had 21-12. Minnesota had 13-40. I wanted to gauge your interest. I think if my heart was set on any of those four teams, I would have been fine picking even Cincinnati. Even with their votes, no problem. I have Pudgy 691 on. This is the current, well, the one I have now. It's this July 17 file. When do you think it will start? If I had to give you my best guess, I can take the next corrected file, correct any numbers or anything that's wrong with the team, begin the series, and have the introduction episode out next week. I like to have it out Monday or Tuesday at the latest, kind of. But the introduction episode is probably just going to be get you guys introduced to the team, get you familiar with where Minnesota is as a football program, and of course, you know, a little insight to the coach there. That's going to be taken over. Try to put Minnesota back on the map and turn them into a winner. They only have 5 players in the NFL. They haven't won the conference title since 1967. They don't own the little brown jug, Paul Bunyan's axe, the victory bell, or the float of Rosedale. Minnesota needs help. Minnesota needs me. And so I'm their coach now. How often will the videos be out? I think you can expect them pretty consistently, especially early, because when I'm really excited about a series and it's brand new, I want to feed it to you. And I'm almost done with the UTSA Dynasty, and lately I've been live streaming a lot, which takes less time to do than making a lot of my videos. Like a Sammy Hollins video takes an hour or less to play, edit, and get it all finished. Whereas a UTSA or Raiders video takes at least 3 to 5 hours. And so, the Minnesota Golden Gophers, get ready for the Big Ten takeover.